Well, welcome to another Memphis Monday. As you can see, we got our Spindle Sander Table completed. We also did some side projects. We made us a redneck dust collection system for my chop saw, and I showed you a couple of ways to make drawers. But we need to get to work on this Spindle Sander Table. So let's knock off the chatter and get to work. When the weather's halfway nice, my dust control for my chop saw is that big fan which blows. But when it gets cold, it's getting down in the winter now. It's just before Christmas, and I'm going to rig a small shop vac to the back of my chop saw. So the plan is to install these boards down. Two boards. You can see that this doesn't extend out far enough to set the shop vac on. So what I need to do is install some more framing right in here, so that I can attach the board that way. Well, I got another chance to use my framing nailer, didn't I? Okay, what I've done here is I've connected these long pieces of wood to the framing here, so that I know that the underside of this piece of wood is level with the framing. And then I've got a piece of strapping here that I'll shim this thing up with, and then my piece, then when I attach it, will be level with that plane. Okay, I'm attaching the shim with with glue and large finish nails. Okay, I'm going to reinstall the chop saw into the big hole I left, and because we need that to put trim on that. Well, tell me that ain't redneck. The reason I got it up on I got it up high instead of down towards the ground is I want to be able to, when I empty it out and service it and fiddle with it, I want it up where I don't have to squat down. And I can also turn it on right here, see? All right, we got our chop saw back in operation. Let's get started on that spindle table. Back over here to the prototype. The spindle sander table will sit on a platform similar to the one we have on the prototype here, which consists of 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood glued and nailed together, and then an oak trim installed all the way around. So let's do that now. This is regular Titebond 3 glue. Make our drawers this way, but I thought I'd do a little mini project here and show you how drawers are normally conventionally made. Most of the drawers you see, the drawer bottom will sit in a rabbet, sawed into the side. And let's go over and look at the drawer joint, and we'll do one of those too. Now, this is called a locking rabbet joint. It's very common, either this joint or one very similar in drawers. I'm going to show you how to make one of these. Now, to make that rabbet for the drawer bottom, all I've done is I've taken 2 saw blades and doubled them up and put 40 thousandths spacer between the 2 blades. Okay, there I just made this dado right here that this rabbet fits into that slot right there. Okay, now I'm going to make move your fence into your dado blade, and here I'm just using 3 regular saw blades to give me the right distance. Move that fence over till it's right against that sacrificial fence, and then when you cut your rabbet, it should cut a 1/4 inch rabbet right there. We're not going to use this drawer. We're going to make our drawer some other way. But we're going to install this. So that you can see the concept. And then you should hear a click. Hear that click? And there's your drawer. Well, I took the last few minutes to cut out the stock for our drawers. Today's first day of winter, and it's already dark outside, so I think I'm gonna knock off for the evening, and tomorrow morning we'll knock this project out. These are very similar to the joints we made for the stackable toolbox. Before I install the bottoms, I'm going to put some glue down, and I'll spread it out and let it get tacky. This bottom platform we put together the other day. What I'm doing now is installing this 1.5 inch oak trim that goes around the edges. See the construction here. The 2 sheets of plywood are held together with 35 screws, put in a fairly even pattern, and glue, and the wheels are held in place with this thing's on the ground and the Spindle Sander cabinet is on top of it, it'll be real hard to stain. And up here on the table, it's real easy to stain. So that's what I'm going to do. Now this is just something to kind of cheer us on, cheer us up a little bit before we carry on. There's the stand and there's the cabinet. The tolerances are almost zero with these kind of drawer slides. So I've got to sand these drawer boxes down to ensure that there's no, little slivers of wood or glue or anything that would impede the operation. Okay, here you can see where I drew a line down the center of the box, and now I just got to put the screws in. Key here is to make sure this thing can slide around a little bit. You can slide around while you're getting your screw going. The trick is to get the screw started exactly on that line. Well, let's see if our drawer fits. If it fits, we'll go eat lunch. If it doesn't fit, we'll still go eat lunch. Not many options. Got all the drawers installed. So now it's time to put the drawer fronts on. My first chore, I got the stock already cut out. But my first chore is to put this bevel detail right here on all four drawer fronts. I'll be doing it in 2 passes on the rival table. All I've done is round over the edge of that board, if you can see that. But to get this little edge detail right here on the prototype, I've got to run my router bit all the way up, and that's the reason I had to do it in 2 passes. What I'm doing here is putting on those door fronts, those drawer fronts we just routed. Now what I did here is I pre-drilled all these holes into the drawer faces, and so now I'll finish the drilling process. That way the holes through the drawer and the drawer face will be perfectly lined up. Now it's just a question of putting my handle on and seeing if my alignment is right. Well, that one seems right. Tighten it down. Well, there's our perfectly installed drawer pull. Let's look inside and see what we got in there. Okay, here's the inside of the drawer. These are the 2 screws I used to hold the drawer front on. those are the two screws to hold the handle on. And what I want to show you is these two, I don't know if you can see them, but they're two little brads that I shot through to hold the door front, or the drawer front on, while I was putting these screws in. But they're hidden by the drawer pull. Okay, let me put the rest of these handles on and we'll start working on the trim. All the drawers are installed. Now we need to build the top for it. Here in the prototype you get a real good view of what we're talking about. We're essentially building a scaled down version of this box here. Now the top we're going to build is a single sheet of 3/4 inch plywood with this oak trim around the edge. The top and the bottom have a similar design feel, but because they're made out of the same material, this is birch plywood and this is oak trim, but there's three fairly significant differences. The top is going to be about 8 inches wider than the bottom. The plywood itself isn't doubled, it's just a single layer. And there's a 3/4 inch lip that goes all the way around. And then finally the corners are mitered instead of the butt joints that we put on the on the bottom. Put trim on this rascal, I guess it's about drum roll time, isn't it? Well, there she is. Didn't turn out half bad. Nice big drawers. Got the top on it with the 3/4 inch lip around it. Oak trim, oak door fronts. These are 100% opening drawers, by the way. Yeah, put a little stain on it and see if we can get that wood to contrast. Well, I'm finishing putting the stain on. I have to tell you, this is one of those projects that just turned out unexpectedly good. Of course, I had a prototype to go by. Let me get the camera down and give you one last look at the details. I really like the contrast, the different colored woods. The drawers came out real good. Very usable top. I made it bigger than I originally planned. And she's sitting right next to his big brother. Well, that'll do it for another Memphis Monday. We got our Spindle Sander Table completed. Turned out I'm real satisfied with it. I think it looks good. It's certainly strong enough. We also got our redneck dust collection system completed, and I showed you how to make one of these drawers correctly. And what am I forgetting? Oh, I remember. See you back here next week for sure. Thanks for watching.